So I ran across a video from May of 2024 with a bunch of scientists sitting around trying to decide if they had a surveillance system to surveil people about the bird flu. Watch.
Hopkins Public Health Ontario. I was just wondering, so in the event there is a positive from milk, do we have a plan to start active surveillance in humans? I think that, I'm just sort of thinking about like, what's the next step? Are we just going to wait, or do we have something that's kind of queued up and ready to go once we see a positive? Thanks.
So, Jessica, that's exactly the protocol I was talking about in the enhanced surveillance that we're working to put together that we won't use. I shouldn't say we won't use. There's some potential ways we could use it. We could get baseline. We could do it on pigs. We could do it on avian, even though it's been done by the BC folks. So, but obviously the preoccupation is to land something so that if we do find a positive farm, we can get in there. But that's where our work right now has been focused on, trying to develop something that would be implementable around those farms.
Notice how they're specifically talking about farms and surveillance. That's going to come back up again further in this video. You're not going to turn it off, folks. Now, as much as that may have bothered you, I also ran across some military paperwork from 2004 that talked about its surveillance being in place to track bird flu 21 years ago. Then I ran across this, that possibly bird flu was being released in the fog that people have been seeing, because notice the article here that says you must stay indoors. Guys, that one is December of 2024. Hey everybody, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So I know we are all, myself included, tired of hearing doomsday preppers. We are so sick of hearing this is the next big thing that's going to end civilization as you and I know it. But what I'm going to show you today stems all the way back to 2004. It involves the military and the next big bird flu pandemic. Let's get started. So recently, I came across a document from the military that clearly stated its plan if the bird flu was to become a pandemic. In this document, it discusses how they expect the bird flu to mutate to what happened with the 1918 Spanish flu, which killed 45,000 active military personnel. Now, as I read through this, what they have basically said is they are going to work with the World Economic Forum, with WHO, and Homeland Security, as well as health and hospitals, to make sure the military is ready, up and running, with everything from medications to treatment facilities to vaccines for something called the avian swine flu that had come out of Asia. Now, you're looking at the documents as I'm talking to you. So if you need to pause it so that you can read it, please feel like you can do that and just continue with the video in a second. But the point that I'm trying to show you guys here is that they have been prepping for this, the bird flu, for 21 years. 21 years. But notice even in that document, they talked about how it goes from animal to human. The reason that bothers me is that right now the CDC and everybody is on top of this bird flu being in poultry, cows, and now pigs. It's not just that, it goes further. In both Oregon, Washington, and California, there have been raw food, pet food recalls for cats, felines, that have passed away due to eating something like turkey or poultry that had raw meat, right? And it gave the cat the bird flu. But you need to see what's going on with the USDA and their new regulations on livestock. Even if you're not a homesteader or a farmer, why should that bother you? Because right now, lactating cattle cannot cross state lines in the entirety of the United States. That's bad. Say that I want to start a farm And the type of cow that I want to use for my milk cow, say I want to get it from Montana and I live in Louisiana, I can't bring a lactating cow across state lines because of bird flu. They're beginning to lock it all down step by step. And then you see gentlemen like this.
The next pandemic is here in the form of bird flu, and we need an immediate global lockdown until 2026 in order to contain this deadly virus. Now, today, a man in Mexico lost his life to bird flu, and I don't want any more people to lose their lives to this virus. And so, unfortunately, we will have to go back inside. We will need to lock down. We will need PPE. We will need masks. We will need to keep our distance from each other. And most importantly, we're going to have to come up with a new vaccine for bird flu. And yes, if you're not prepared to take that vaccine, then you should face the consequences, because this time we've learnt our lessons. We've learnt our lessons from COVID, and we cannot allow that kind of destruction and that kind of disobedience to continue. And so I say the World Health Organization must announce a global lockdown today. We must learn from the past, and we must do everything we can to stop this virus in its tracks now, before it gets to winter.
I would love to tell you guys that he is the only crazy person screaming for lockdowns now, and that if you don't take the jab, you should be punished, but he isn't.
Is to make vaccination the easy choice. It needs to be hard for people to remain unvaccinated.
It is the unvaccinated who are the problem, period, end of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you.
We can't trust the unvaccinated.
It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
If someone chooses not to be vaccinated, that they should choose to stay home, not go to work, not have a job.
Hopefully they will do it willingly.
Free fries when you get vaccinated?
If not, there will have to be things that will essentially put pressure on.
They felt that way after the C, right? During 2020 to 2022. How do you think they're going to feel in 2025 if the bird flu attacks us? Do you think they're just going to back up and be like, no worries, nothing to worry about here. We're just going to let you guys get away with it. No, they're not. They're going to play the same playbook, guys. But my biggest concern is, what is this going to do to our food security as a nation? Because see, a lot of people on this channel, you're not farmers. You've never seen what it takes to bring livestock from birth to butcher. I actually give a class on my farm once a year called Birth to Butcher. And we teach you everything about one specific small livestock, and we teach you the whole gauntlet because people don't understand what it takes. So when you're talking about cattle, that's a 3-year process from birth to butcher. 3 years. So I want you just to imagine if there's a bump in the road at any point. Same with milking cows, right? Say that half of the milking cows in this country are destroyed. It could take up to 6 years to reestablish the amount of milking cows that we actually need. We're talking food security. We're talking an attack on our America's freedoms. But what you need to be concerned about at home is making sure that you have somebody that can feed you. Because I found something that's going to shock you guys. This is the World Economic Forum's belief. Look at the date on this article. That means by 2039, the World Economic Forum fully intends to have meat off of all of your plates. But it's not just beef and poultry and pig, my friends. It's hunting. It is hunting. Hunting is now coming under fire. And the World Economic Forum is weighing in on this heavy. And even though they do mention the indigenous peoples and rural populations and cultures that depend on their hunted foods, they're still willing for you to lose your rights to hunt. Because guess what? When you come in contact with wild animals, you're increasing the chances of a zoonotic disease crossing the barrier. So when you butcher a deer or a squirrel or a rabbit or a bear, whatever it is you're hunting, you could come down with the disease and spread it to other humans. You guys, this is their plan. This is their plan. It is why it's more than important, more now than ever, that you learn to raise some form of, they're going to attempt to shut down homesteads, farmsteads, and farms and go to like a corporate form where they can force people into PPE, where they can come out and control and surveil those farms. See, homesteaders push back against that. We don't want you on our property, our private property. They can't have that. They can't have us creating our own food systems because then we're bucking the system. The most dangerous thing to the controllers is a person that can feed themselves, clothe themselves by cutting out the middleman and have no need for government oversight. Those people are the most dangerous thing to the World Economic Forum, to the WHO, to the UN's global dominance plan, are those free thinkers who'll do whatever it takes to survive. We are the dangerous people. We are the extremists. We are the ones they consider terrorists. And that is the truth. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to shut down farms and stuff by saying it's just too dangerous to have backyard chickens, right? It's too dangerous to have pigs on your property. It's too dangerous. And they're just going to keep narrowing and whittling away at those freedoms because they want on the farms. They want to see what's going on. They want to control the food. I love you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video. People need to wake up. There is another pandemic coming. Absolutely. And I fully expect to hit anytime now. Anytime. As soon as Trump is sworn in, I fully expect it to hit because Canada now has a mutation in somebody with bird flu. Love you guys.
Get rid of the cattle herds because they're causing all kinds of people to get the cough, cough, sneeze, sneeze. And while we're at it, you better register your chickens. I have been giving you example after example of government officials and World Economic geniuses, forum geniuses, who want you to register your gardens and register your chickens. We've been doing these videos ad nauseum. This is where they want to go. They want you living in 15-minute cities. And so you got all these articles coming out now about the cattle herd being sick and causing people to get sick. And even though there's no, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that because that gets into sketchy territory where YouTube might get mad at me. But it's not the point of the video. I don't have to talk about that. Most of you probably already know that. That's where we're going. That's what they're pushing. So you've got that going on. And then you have news articles coming out like this that, you know, Trump's not going to be able to save the beef collapse and the beef herds are in trouble and all of this that's happening. Okay, then keep all that in mind. And in the last video I did, I talked about fake food and the Hellmann's with the bioengineered ingredients. And then all the other items out there today that have, you know, like Chex Mix and Tostitos and all these different brands out there, that all the GMOs that they love so much that they want you to consume. Because it kills your fertility and it ruins your metabolism. The seed oils that are contained within are all GMOs. And by the way, they ruin your metabolism and your mitochondria. Studies have proven this. This is not in question anymore.